at my most wretched moment. Bai Lingbing married me. Everyone said she married me to spite my brother. But after she passed away in a car accident, she left all her inheritance and a voice recorder to me. Clicking it gently, I heard her husky, low voice. She said, Fang Yuan, can you like me back just a little? After many years, I finally glimpsed her majestic and grand love hidden beneath the ice. Opening my eyes again, I was reborn. My adoptive mother was holding my hand, saying, Yuan, go to prison for your brother, okay? Before the age of 16, I was the Fang family's pampered young son, loved by parents, favored by my sister, living carefree. But Fang Yifei showed up with a DNA test, and I learned the nurse had swapped the babies back then. He was the real young master, and I was just the dove occupying the magpie's nest. I originally wanted to leave him, but my biological parents had long passed away, and Mother Fang couldn't bear to see me become an orphan, so she formally adopted me. My adoptive parents treated me well. My sister didn't give me the cold shoulder, and Fang Yifei never made things difficult for me. I was grateful. But later, backstage at a film set, Fang Yifei had a dispute with a fellow actor. During the argument, that person fell down the stairs. I became vegetable. There were no cameras at the time, but someone had to take the blame, and I happened to be there and witnessed everything. My adoptive mother came to me in tears, begging me to take the fall for Fang Yifei. Yifei knelt before me, kowtowing and slapping his own face, saying he was sorry to me. The whole family cried their hearts out. So I nodded. I took the blame for him. I went to prison and suffered greatly. At first, the Fang family would still come to visit me, perhaps out of guilt, shedding apologetic tears. But gradually, no one came anymore. Once, the prison organized an activity, and the warden asked about our plans after release. I thought for a long time before writing seriously. After release, I want to see Mom and Dad. The inmate next to me saw it and laughed at me for writing something so simple. Mom and Dad will definitely come to pick you up. How could you not see them? I smiled and didn't argue. But when I was actually released, no one came. Only an assistant from the Fang group took me to the airport and gave me a large sum of money. He didn't say anything, but I understood everything. Mom and Dad didn't want me. The Fang family had abandoned me. I didn't take the money, not because of high morals. I just didn't want to owe the Fang family anymore. The Fang family raised me for over 20 years, and I served 5 years in prison for their son. We were even. I rented a room and ran my legs off before finding a job that didn't mind my criminal record. But I was fired after just half a month. I kept asking why, until the manager stammered. You offended someone you shouldn't have. I froze for a moment and couldn't say a word. Someone I shouldn't have offended. Who else could it be, besides the Fang family? That day, clutching my bag, I walked onto the street. It was drizzling. The chilly rain fell on my face and body with the wind. When passing the central square, the big screen was showing Fang Yifei's live broadcast. I stopped and looked up at the awards podium. He was handsome and dashing, freely radiating his charm. The camera panned, and I saw Mother Song and Father Fang looking at him with tears in their eyes, as if looking at a rare treasure. Eyes full of love. I don't know why. Suddenly remembered the first visit when I was in prison. My adoptive mother looked at me, rapidly losing weight, and promised me, Yuan, after you get out of prison, Mom will support you for a lifetime. Mom loves you. But 2 years ago, when I saw her for the last time, her expression only had a faint guilt. She said, Fang Yifei is getting engaged to Bai Ningbing. She likes her very much. After you get out of prison, can you leave here? To avoid the He family discovering the past. Bai Ningbing, ID, family's eldest miss. There are TVs in prison. I occasionally hear about Fang Yifei and Bai Ningbing's deep love. They say Bai Ningbing is a famous playgirl in the circle, but settled down for Fang Yifei. Stepped into the entertainment industry she disdained the most, sending him connections and resources, personally presenting awards to him. I occasionally envy Fang Yifei, envy him for having parents' love and a girlfriend's favor. Just 20 years old, yet already successful in both career and love. Unlike me, no parents, no career, no lover, and no one loves me. As for marrying Bai Ningbing, this matter was originally an accident. After being fired, I went back to my hometown and worked as a waiter in a restaurant. It was quite busy. I don't know where she got the news. When she found me, I was serving beer to guests. The woman drank too much, and her hands were wandering. I frowned and slapped her. The woman was furious and kicked me to the ground. Bottles and food spilled all over me, burning hot. The woman was not yet satisfied, cursing and about to hit me again. But the next second, she went silent. I opened my eyes to look, and met the woman's eyes, bright as stars. Bai Ningbing curled her lips and smiled, but it was lazy, without much sincerity. Fang Yuan, look at you now. I stood up, shook off the food scraps on my body, nodded, and wanted to walk around her to leave, but I hadn't taken 2 steps when I heard her voice behind me. Seeing you so miserable, do you want to marry me? I turned back to look at her in astonishment. You finally went crazy. Seriously, Bai Ning looked me up and down. Her eyes were dark, showing no emotion, but she spoke seriously. To tell you the truth, I was dumped by your brother. I'm in a bad mood, and you were forced into the state by the Fang family. We can barely be considered a victim alliance. The street light was dim, flickered twice, and declared it was broken. I couldn't see her face clearly, only heard her sneer. The cigarette at her mouth glowed red. Anyway, you have nothing now. Marrying me, you won't lose anything. What are you afraid of? I thought about it. I didn't speak, so she quiet. Lee waited for me, until a cold breeze blew. I subconsciously shivered. Bai Ningbing took off her haute couture trench coat, and draped it over my shoulders. In an instant, my nose was filled with her faint, milky scent. I said okay, and the news of the wedding began to spread. Everyone was shocked. They all said Bai Lingbing marrying me was just to spite Fang Yifei. At the wedding, when Bai Lingbing said she was willing, I noticed Fang Yifei's eyes were red from crying off stage, and he left the scene losing his composure. I glanced at the woman, but she just smiled, didn't even look at him once, as if she had never loved him, as if she really didn't care. After marriage, Bai Lingbing treated me very well. She arranged an assistant job for me, tying us together at all times. I asked her the reason. She just smiled flirtatiously. I don't feel safe leaving a handsome guy at home. Afraid a thief might steal you away. If I lost my chastity, wouldn't that be a huge loss? I laughed at her impropriety, and couldn't be bothered to argue with her. Those years in prison, I suffered too much hardship. My body couldn't withstand any turmoil. A cold or cough that is normal for others would become a serious illness for me. Bai Lingbing hired a famous doctor to treat me, which helped a bit. By the sickbed, she held my hand, serious and devout. Fang Yuan, I bought you. Your life is mine. You cannot force me to die first. Childish words, but looking at her brimming, bitter eyes, I eventually nodded. I didn't understand why she was sad, but I had long learned not to ask, not to disturb. Okay, growing old together. But in the end, the person who didn't keep the promise was not me, but Bai Lingbing, Mr. Fang, Miss Bai On. Yesterday at 3:10 a.m. Passed away after rescue efforts failed following a major car accident. Pushing open the morgue door, Bai's parents were already sobbing uncontrollably. I looked at the pale and colorless Bai Lingbing, but only secretly thought in my heart, heaven favored her, giving her a family background others couldn't reach, looks and ability. But why was it so stingy to only give her 34 years? What a pity, what a pity. I handled Bai Lingbing's funeral single-handedly. 5 years into the marriage, many people still didn't look favorably upon me and her. Marriage, Fang Yifei, out of love turning to hate, was always waiting to see me make a fool of myself, but no one expected That Bai Lingbing would leave all her assets and shares to me. Fei's parents had no objections. Only their backs were hunched when they left. No longer having the spirit of the past. A week later, Bai Lingbing's lawyer Chen brought me the inheritance transfer papers. Before leaving, he handed me a voice recorder. This is Miss Fei's personal effect. It has been restored. I think, Mr. Fang, you might need it. Inside the recorder, Fang Yuan. The woman's voice was light and cold, mixed with a trace of static, sounding even more husky. I married you. Never to spite Fang Yifei. It was because I liked you. I was stunned for a moment, but my heart was completely calm, as if I had expected it. Bai Lingbing chuckled softly. Perhaps you have long forgotten. We met long ago. Back then, you were the flower on the high ridge of the school. The teacher's favorite. My mentor mentioned you constantly. Every time you finished chatting with your teacher, he would always say to me angrily, Bai Lingbing, you go first. Hating you again. Stay away from me. He mimicked his mentor's tone, looking especially cute. I subconsciously let out a laugh, but slowly retracted it the next instant. Bai Lingbing continued speaking. I hated you so much back then, but I couldn't help fixing my eyes on you, like a glutton for punishment. Hey, but then you went to prison for so-called intentional injury. I didn't believe it. I had to investigate. But unfortunately, the Fang family cleaned up all the clues very well, so I set my sights on Fang Yifei. It turns out Bai Lingbing and that legendary romance with Fang Yifei was just an excuse to find the truth of my imprisonment. But Bai Lingbing didn't expect Fang Yifei's lips to be sealed tight, but he eventually found some clues. I suddenly remembered before the wedding. One day Bai Lingbing asked me, particularly excitedly, Yuan, do you want revenge? No, I shook my head. 20 million. After so many years, I finally understand. That day, he had likely found out the truth. He investigated the truth for me, and hid the truth from me. It turns out everything was because of me. The emotions in my eyes trembled violently. My whole body couldn't stop shaking, and tears fell drop by drop. But then again, my acting must be very, very good. So I fooled everyone, and fooled you too. Do you know, when I went to find you? To ask you to marry me, that expression, and that look in your eyes, how cute it was. Forget it, I'm talking too much again. Actually, I've always wanted to ask. Bai Lingbing coughed. He was usually cold and proud, but at this moment, his voice rarely carried a hint of boyish shyness. Fang Yuan, could you maybe like me a little too? I might not hear it in this life. So in the next life when I find you, tell me then. Accompanied by the screech of emergency braking, and the noise and screams of the crowd, I clearly heard his last words. He said, Fang Yuan, I really, really, really like you. The trailing note actually held a trace of a smile. The emotions I had been suppressing collapsed suddenly at this moment. In the empty living room, the table still held the lilies Bai Lingbing brought home days ago. I have always liked lilies, so he presented them to me like a treasure. Yuan, do they smell good? I picked them out one by one specifically. Yuan, you'll change the flowers in the house from now on. At that time, the fragmented laughter in his eyes was like gentle starlight. How could I say no? But the person who promised lied. He was the first to leave, taking away the lily's last vitality. The warm sun fell on my shoulders through the French window. I raised my hand to touch it, but only felt coldness. To this day, I finally glimpsed beneath Bai Lingbing's icy surface at the majestic and secret love hidden there. It seems a bit too late. When lawyer Chen saw Mr. Fang again, it was a week later. He came to collect the inheritance transfer papers. He had followed Bai Lingbing for many years, and had seen Mr. Fang many times. In his impression, Mr. Fang was always dignified, wearing a gentle smile, just like a jade Buddha on high, coldly watching the world's chaos. No joy, no anger, unmoved. Even when he learned of Bai Lingbing's death, he just paused for a moment. His eyes didn't even turn red. Bai Lingbing was so good to him, yet received a single tear from him. Lawyer Chen once felt Bai Lingbing wasn't worth it in his heart, but this time, just entering the living room, Lawyer Chen actually saw Mr. Fang holding a few bunches of long-withered lilies. His face was whiter than the falling snow. Seeing him, he didn't even have a trace of a polite smile. Just coldly stated Lawyer Chen donate his assets to the orphanage. I don't want his. With no intention of discussion. Before leaving, Lawyer Chen couldn't help but turn back and ask, Mr. Fang, did you ever like President Bai? And I just smiled, but did not answer. Many years later, Mr. Fang was already a philanthropist, the media scrambled to report on, having funded who knows how many orphans. Seeing him again was at his sickbed. He was clearly only 45 years old, yet already had a head full of white hair. At that time, he looked at the window, as if he saw, with a bit of boyish innocence on his face. He said, have always liked Yuan. Mom begs you just save your younger brother. Your brother is still so young. How can he go to prison? Brother, I really know I was wrong. I didn't mean to. I don't want to go to prison. If a big star goes to prison, my whole life will be ruined. When waking up from total darkness, ringing in my ears was a noisy crying voice. My head hurts terribly. Slowly opening my eyes, only then seeing everything clearly before me. Fang Yifei was kneeling on the ground, crying while prone on the ground. Father Fang heartbrokenly, hugging him to comfort him, while Mother Fang was tightly grabbing my hand, eyes and face full of tears, speaking with some choking sobs, yet very serious. Yuan, you go to prison for your brother, okay? I looked at her silently, as if it were an encouragement. Mother Fang gritted her teeth and said, Yuan, there is no surveillance at the scene, only you and Yifei were present. The paparazzi only captured the back view. Can't recognize anything, as long as you admit you accidentally pushed Keizu-kun. The police won't find out anything. Don't worry, after you enter prison, Mom will definitely arrange everything for you. Won't let you suffer. After you get out of prison, the Fang family will support you for a lifetime, HMM. She said the same thing in the previous life, but the shelf life was only 1 year. The promise expired. I was kicked out of the single cell, and because of being beautiful, attracted bullying and revenge from some people, beating, cursing, even poisoning, unspeakably miserable, but didn't visit me until I was poisoned by nitrite in the food. When released on medical parole, Mother Fang came to my hospital bed. That day she glanced at me condescendingly, with a faintly helpless look. After all, it is a prison, not a holiday resort. Suffering a little is inevitable. Fang Yuan, don't be so squeamish. Yifei is going on a business trip abroad recently, and not at ease. Guess I won't have time to see you in the future. I never saw her again after that. Looking at Mother Fang's tear-stained face now, I believe what she says right now is from the heart. But that sincerity, the guilt and self-blame towards me, eventually turned into deeper fear with the passage of time. I gently shook off Mother Fang's hand, and said, no. Mother Fang was stunned. She probably didn't expect that the usually obedient me would actually refuse her. But when I spoke again, it was serious and firm. Mom, I thank you for raising me for 20 years, but I don't want to pay with my whole life for it. You can call me selfish, or an ingrate, but I don't want to take the blame for him. I was reborn, not to repeat the same mistakes. In my past life, Bai Lingbing saved me. In this life, I want to save myself, and then walk to Bai Lingbing's side, clean and dignified. My refusal enraged Fang Fu. He scolded me for being ungrateful, enjoying the benefits of the Fang family for so many years, yet refusing to give back even a little bit. Mother Fang and Fang Yifei cried their hearts out even more, but seeing that I wouldn't budge, they worried I might run away. So they locked me in the room, Only my sister, Song Qing, remained silent from beginning to end, just like in the past life. Mother Fang confiscated my phone but didn't. Now I had a spare one. Turning on the phone. Yesterday, Kai-Su-kun was accidentally seriously injured, and the news of him becoming a vegetable is already on the trending list. Clues are scarce. Only a paparazzi snapped a blurry photo of a bag, and a statement saying, Fang Yifei had once been alone with Kai-Su-kun for a while. The police are probably already on their way. I flipped open the spare phone, and subconsciously dialed the phone number. Looking at the familiar digits, I paused for a moment, but ultimately didn't make the call. Somehow, I felt a bit afraid in my heart. Afraid that the person on the other end wasn't the one I knew. Even more afraid that he woke up from the dream, and I would never see him again. In the past life after Bai Ningbing passed away, I regularly paid his phone bill. In the dead of night, I would send him texts about daily life or complaints, and would always get a reply. Ah Yuan, I am here, which was his authority. He said it before he died, you say. How can this person be so hateful? Hatefully gripping my heart, making me unable to forget him for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I got up and opened the curtains. The warm sun shone through the window, and landed on me, carrying a trace of chill. I saw the police outside, and the obscure look cast by Fang Fu. With trembling hands, I finally sent a text message. Bai Ningbing, do you want to come save me? Mother wanted to stop me, prevent me from showing up, and then confirm my guilt. But I banged on the door with force. Facing the police's questioning, I ignored Mother Fang's pleading gaze, and answered one by one. In the past life, the conviction and case closure went smoothly, because I voluntarily admitted to the crime, and even erased my alibi myself. In this life I won't be so foolish. The kindness of the past 20-some years was worn out long ago in the previous life. Not hating is already my limit, and compared to my calmness and composure, it made Fang Yifei look even more flustered and guilty. Who was right and who was wrong was obvious at a glance. When Fang Yifei was taken away, Mother Fang was crying and screaming hysterically. Father Fang had an even darker expression. The gaze he occasionally cast at me was like looking at a mortal enemy, wishing he could tear me to pieces. The two of them left with Fang Yifei. I watched quietly, without saying a word. At this moment, Song Qing walked up to me, saying in a low voice, the Fang family can't hold you anymore. Ah Yuan, you should leave here. I looked up at her, my gaze pausing on her reddened eyes for a second. Do you not blame me? Song Qing froze for a moment. She didn't answer yes or no, but just looked distantly in the direction of the police car. Her tone was as light as the wind. Ah Yuan, you are also my brother. She had said this in the previous life too. She persuaded me not to take the blame. I asked her why. She lowered her eyes to look at me, her gaze like wind and rain, gentle and pitying. You are also my brother. It's just that I failed her advice then. But this time, I decided to listen to her. Mother Fang and Father Fang probably hate me now, staying any longer. Would only add to the trouble. I said seriously. Sister, take care. Song Qing curled her lips, her voice obscure. Ah Yuan, live well for yourself. After packing my luggage, I walked out of the Fang house. Looking forward, the wind blew past, rolling up the fallen leaves on the ground. At this very moment, the sunlight fell on me, warm and cozy. And just then, a figure suddenly rushed in front of me. The tone was extremely panicked. Fang Yuan, I'm here. Are you okay? I froze for a moment. I looked up to see a woman wearing a black dress. Her figure slender, and her demonic eyes were deep, her whole being bathed in the morning sun, as if standing in the light. The handsome and wicked face looked lazy and casual. But at this moment, her face was slightly pale, looking me over nervously, seeing I was unharmed. Her expression softened. Her gaze paused on my suitcase for 2 seconds. When she spoke again, she was hesitant. Fang Yuan, did you run away from home? It was Bai Ningbing. To be precise, a much younger Bai Yunbing. Past memories flashed quickly through my mind. There was her looking at me gently. There was her yawning lazily. And there was me holding her hand, walking into marriage, step by step. Finally freezing on that evening she was released from prison. She looked lazy, but actually secretly clenched her hands. She asked me, Fang Yuan, do you want to marry me? At this moment my heart was pounding fast. My eyes reluctant to leave the woman for even a second. Until she widened her eyes in panic, exclaiming, Fang Yuan, why are you crying? Who bullied you? I cried. What am I crying for? Seeing her again. I should be happy. But the emotions accumulated in my heart, all turned into tears, flowing out from my heart. The tears couldn't be stopped. I cried, and Bai Ningbing quietly accompanied me. After a long while, she embraced me, her voice low and deep, carrying a trace of helpless doting, as if coaxing a beloved child. Ah Yuan, don't cry, who bullied you? Shall I take revenge for you? No. I gripped his cuff tightly, shook my head. No revenge. In this life, I just want to be with you properly. Thinking of nothing else, I followed Bai Ningbing back to his apartment. Cold and deserted is his style. After Bai Ningbing passed away in the last life, I had lived here for a long time, as a form of remembrance, or perhaps nostalgia. Hard to say, I was already familiar with the layout here but didn't notice that when I skillfully walked to the deepest turn and pushed open the bathroom door, Bai Ningbing's gaze darkened for a moment. Looking at the red and swollen eyes in the mirror, my wretched self, I sighed softly, feeling a bit embarrassed. I had clearly resolved to face Bai Ningbing with dignity, but every time we meet, I am always this wretched. But it doesn't matter. Bai Ningbing loves me so much. He won't dislike me. Absolutely not. This is the thing I am most certain of in this life. Walking out of the bathroom, Bai Ningbing was just leaning outside the door waiting for me. He asked me why I cried. I calmly recounted everything that just happened. There is nothing to hide between him and me. After listening, Bai Ningbing paused for a moment. So the Fang family wants you to take the blame? I nodded, but I refused. This matter won't end so simply. Although Kai-Zu-kun was seriously injured in the attempt, and there is no substantive evidence, we can only wait for him to wake up to take the blame. Even if Fang Yifei is currently considered a major suspect by the police, suspicion on you is not non-existent. The more he spoke, the darker his face became. I suddenly spoke, up and interrupted him. Bai Ningbing, I'm a bit hungry. His gaze paused and fell on me. Seeing my eyes were clear, without a trace of nervousness, he sighed helplessly. You'll go make it. I nodded. In my past life, my stomach illness was severe, so Bai Ningbing specially learned medicinal cooking personally every day. His skills were very good. I once thought he already knew how to cook, but seeing the lump of noodles he served just now, I suddenly realized that Bai Ningbing, the eldest miss, always only had others serving him. How could he know how to cook from the start? He learned it for me. It was always for me. I picked up chopsticks and took a bite. It's quite salty. But Bai Ningbing looked at me expectantly. Is it good? His eyes floated with fragmented stars. Extremely beautiful. Just like the girl in my memory who smiled and asked if I liked her. I lowered my head, suppressing the sour emotions, and nodded heavily. It's delicious and very much liked. Afterwards, that bowl of noodles was thrown into the trash can. Because I cried. Bai Ningbing thought I cried because it tasted bad. So he picked up chopsticks and tasted a mouthful. And the next second it went into the trash can. He wrinkled his face, looking dissatisfied. I want to cry too. Why is it so bad? Very cute. It made me laugh out loud, dispersing the gloom between my brows. I encouraged him. It's okay, your cooking will definitely be delicious in the future. Why? I smiled. Because I am your future's only diner. The woman's eyes flickered, her eyes appearing thoughtful. revealing a look of unfathomable depth. She said in a deep voice, Fang Yuan, who am I to you in the future? I froze for a moment, looking back at her, only to meet her pitch-black eyes, confident and certain. He guessed it. He's always so smart. Perhaps I paused for an instant, before slowly saying, lover, people who love each other. I thought Bai Lingbing might be stunned, or might frown and ask further. But his expression softened, eyes curving slightly, lips curling up, shedding his casual nonchalance, appearing extremely sincere. He said, that's good, watching the tear mold trembling with his smile. I suddenly wanted to taste what it was like. Thinking of it, I did it. I stood on tiptoes, and kissed him. Under his astonished gaze, I smiled brightly. Bai Lingbing, I like you so much. I forgot to tell you in the last life. Let me tell you in this life. I like you. I've always liked it when before sleep. Bai Lingbing tucks me in. If you get scared, call me. I will come over immediately. Before leaving, he placed the safety charm from his neck into my palm. I know that Bai Lingbing was weak in childhood. Madame Bai prayed for the safety charm for him, to protect him as he grew up. Now, he uses it to protect my safety. I clutched the jade pendant, my heartbeat fluctuating, my cheeks burning hot, until Bai Lingbing slowly walked out, and closed the door. I suddenly felt my face was a bit sore, touched the corners of my mouth, only to realize I had been smiling. My heart felt full too. Bai Lingbing is always like this, seeming like a romantic playboy, never taking anything to heart, but actually being the most attentive and gentle person. And this sleep, I didn't fall asleep until midnight. A bit excited, and a bit afraid. Look at the phone placed beside the pillow. Thought about it, wondering if Bai Lingbing is asleep now, afraid to disturb him by calling. Might as well send a text. Are you asleep? Felt it was unnecessary as soon as I sent it. Just wanted to recall it. Suddenly, footsteps came from the door, followed by the sound of the door opening. Opened my eyes. Bai Lingbing was standing by my bed. Moonlight through the window spilled onto Bai Lingbing's shoulders. His sharp features softened and became gentle. He bent down and asked softly, Yuan, what's wrong? Less than a minute after sending the message, he had already arrived. He was really fulfilling his words. He said he would come. Then, no matter how late, he would always come. Perhaps like me, he didn't sleep well this night either, just because he feared I might really need him. Thinking of this, my heart clenched tight, painful and stuffy. I stayed at Bai Lingbing's house like this for half a month. The most interesting thing was waiting for Bai Lingbing to come home. He went into the kitchen to work on his cooking, while I leaned against the door, quietly watching him, occasionally lending him a hand. Under the warm yellow light, he wore his hair in a bun, revealing a beautiful, yet slightly immature face, dyed with a layer of warm light, radiating traces of warmth. At this time, she hadn't emerged from the heavy snow. Compared to the decisive President Bai of the previous life, he now appears slightly green, immature. This is the time he never participated in, the time he never knew. He occasionally looks up and over, corners of his lips curling up gently. The clear love in those eyes cannot be hidden. He really likes me. At this moment I realized with a start. In the times I didn't know, Bai Lingbing was really loving me diligently. My heart suddenly contracted. The emotions in my heart flowed through my blood throughout my body, finally turning into a long sigh. Watching Bai Lingbing's cooking skills get better day by day, the family finally couldn't hold back. I had thought the Fang family wouldn't just let Fang Yifei plead guilty and go to prison, but I didn't expect the Fang family to bribe Kai Sukan's manager, identifying me as the real culprit. So shameless, so despicable. In front of the camera, Mother revealed the background of me and Fang Yifei. She cried like pear blossoms bathed in rain. I really didn't expect Yuan to intentionally hurt others. He has always been a very obedient child, but now, to avoid punishment, he actually framed his own younger brother. Although Yifei is my biological son, but in reality, he hasn't enjoyed a few days of fortune. Yet now he has to be falsely accused and sent to prison. Yuan really chills my heart. Fan Yifei shrank into her arms, clumsily wiping away tears for her, while letting his own tears stream down his cheeks. Mom, don't be sad anymore. Brother must have been confused for a moment to make a mistake. If I can atone for brother, I am willing to take his place. As long as he can be filial to you, that's enough. The mother and son wept inside in front of the media, crying pitifully. The person who made the mistake must bear the responsibility. What you shouldn't bear, you don't need to bear. Finally Fang father faced, speaking righteously. Fang Yuan, the Fang family raised you for so many years. Hope you can stand up and atone for your mistakes. Once the video was released, a crusade against me was launched on the internet. What an ingrate. A fake young master enjoyed so many years of fortune for nothing. Yet lets the Fang family's biological son take the blame for him. Is he human? Fang Yuan, you bastard, dare to do but not dare to admit. Really disgusting. Yeah, the Fang family has done their utmost for you. You bite the hand that feeds you like this. Accusations voiced out, cursing endlessly. My private account was also doxed and posted. Everyday private messages exploded. Even former classmates called to ask about my situation. Those who cared about me, I occasionally replied. Those telling me to plead guilty, I blocked directly while the outside world was in constant turmoil. No matter how the Fang family created momentum, as long as the police didn't summon me, I am innocent. Why mess up my own footing and fall into the trap of self-proof? Bai Lingbing received the news that day and rushed home, opening his mouth to say I can help you. I smiled a bit. No need I myself. But speaking of which, halfway through for some reason, I suddenly remembered something from my past life. An intense quarrel. But although I say intense, it was actually just because Bai Lingbing treated me too well, making many people jealous. Someone spread rumors behind my back about my imprisonment. There was a loud outcry, but when all was said and done, it was just that I wasn't good enough for Bai Lingbing. Bai Lingbing wanted to help me get rid of the rumors, wanted to attend the press conference with me, and file lawsuits against those gossiping. But I felt it wasn't necessary. I had been to prison after all, although I had a clear conscience. But I didn't want Bai Lingbing to get involved in the controversy. But this angered Bai Lingbing. He coldly asked me if I kept him in my heart, if I treated him as a wife. But I just felt cold treatment was better. Felt he was being unreasonable and irrational. That day, the lights weren't on in the living room. Only the afterglow of the sunset remained. After a long silence, he sneered and said a sentence softly. You are innocent in this world. I cannot tolerate others pointing fingers at you. Fang Yuan, do you understand? I remained silent and refused to answer him. As I left, I looked back and saw his lonely retreating figure. I was a little regretful then. I thought I might as well agree with him. It was just a small matter. But I didn't expect. That was the last time we met. After he died, I asked myself again and again, why wouldn't I accompany him? Why wouldn't I tell him my heart? Those bunches of lilies. That meticulous care, that focused gaze. Did I really not realize he loved me? I clearly knew it. But I was a bastard who took advantage of his love. I was certain Bai Lingbing would stay with me, willfully drowning in his love, yet never willing to soothe his uneasy heart. Until he died. I understood love. But for love realized too late. Nothing is more cruel than not having time to express it. Not having time to get close. And having already lost it completely. With no more chances. Reborn into a new life. Is a chance granted by heaven for me to make amends. Whatever reserve in love. Shyness, proceeding step by step. I can't care about that. And I can't learn it either. I just want to be with him. I just want, crave, and still want. So I tightly hugged Bai Ling Bing, and then kissed his lips. As our lips and teeth met, I gasped softly and said, "Okay, you help me, I'll pay you a reward in advance." Bai Ling Bing froze for a moment, then pushed me onto the sofa even deeper and heavier. 2 hours later, I was so tired, I couldn't recover, but tightly hugged Bai Ling Bing, refusing to let go. I watched him, clearly too sleepy to open his eyes, yet still not wanting to close them. I was still a bit afraid this was a dream. He leaned over and kissed my cheek softly. "Rest assured, I'm here. Ayuan, go to sleep." "I'm always here," I hummed in agreement. Unable to hold on any longer, I fell into darkness. In the darkness, I suddenly woke up with a start. I lay in the black and white bedroom wearing pajamas. On the bedside table sat a glass of water that had gone cold. White pills beside the water. I looked around. It was cold and deserted, but that familiar person wasn't there. My pain violently throbbed. Memories surfaced in my mind, scene after scene, finally freezing on that low voice carrying an electric current. "Ayuan, I really, really like you." So it was a dream. I realized it actually wasn't a dream. I clutched my chest tightly, hands and feet ice cold, as if trapped in a net, being deprived of the right to breathe, bit by bit. Tears fell drop by drop. "Ayuan, what's wrong?" Someone suddenly pushed open the door, walked up to me, looking panicked at my teary eyes. I raised my hand to wipe the tears. Finally, seeing the woman's appearance clearly. "Ayuan, it's okay. I just went out to settle the Fang family matters. Found the agent bribed by the Fang family, and found the cleaner who happened to pass by that day. He saw that it was Fang Yifei who pushed Kai Su-kun. Fang Yifei has been convicted. The Fang family members were also sued by me for false accusation. Ayuan, no one will frame you again in the future." The woman gently patted my back, while recounting everything that happened while I slept. I looked up at her, gently leaned into her arms, listening to the clear, powerful heartbeat coming from the chest. Finally laughed out loud. "It's nothing, I missed you," I said softly. "Bai Ling Bing, have I told you? I really, really, really like you." The woman chuckled, held me tightly in her arms. She said, "I like Ayuan too. People who love each other, after many years apart, finally told each other of their love. Mountains, seas, time, and space cannot stop the reunion of loved ones." Bai Ling Bing side story. I am reborn. After my rebirth, I came to the Fang family immediately, only to find the Fang family was still harmonious. Fang Yuan was still the coldest and smartest idol in the academy, and not that seemingly gentle, but actually broken-hearted Mr. Fang from my past life. Yuan had no sense of security. Prison was too bitter. He was envied and hated by others. Those prisoners often deliberately tortured him at night, which made him, after leaving prison, even if he fell asleep, but as long as there was the slightest movement, he would be startled awake, and then could not sleep again, sitting there for the whole night. Yet even so, he could still do his work flawlessly during the day. My Yuan is fragile snow, and also a tough pine, seemingly a ray of light. Cannot melt him, but in reality, he is indestructible. I love him and I admire him. At the school's freshman ceremony, Fang Yuan went on stage to speak as the student council president. I sat off stage, looking over from afar. The boy was wearing a uniform, upright, falling short hair revealing a handsome and youthful face. He recklessly radiated his handsomeness, displaying his knowledge, causing many people to not just watch in fascination, still listened entranced. The Yuan at this moment was the youthful and innocent one in my memory. The top student Fang Yuan stood on the podium. The oncoming wind blew past, scattering his hair. The sunlight seemed to favor him, dyeing him with a light golden color. In that instant, I suddenly felt that if time stopped at this moment, how good that would be. My Yuan would forever not have to accept those tribulations and torments. Forever remain innocent. A smile is a smile. Bitterness is bitterness. Not subject to gossip and rumors. Not provoking ridicule or mockery. How wonderful that would be. I already knew Fang Yifei would have an accident, so I specifically installed surveillance in that remote stairwell. When I originally intended to release it, I received Fang Yuan's distress message instead. At that moment, I knew Yuan had also returned. I wanted to know his attitude this time. Wanted to know how he would deal with the Fang family. And this time he refused to take the blame. He left the Fang family. I saw him, quietly dragging his luggage, walking on the deserted Plane Tree Avenue. When he saw me, he blossomed into a smile, making me feel The sunlight that day was so warm. I pretended to be ignorant of everything. Tried hard for a long time. Made a bowl of noodles with no visual appeal watching him freeze. Guiding him bit by bit to discover my love for him. Seeing his heart tremble for me. I should have been delighted. But the moment I saw his tears, I felt heartache again. Forget it, I think my loving him is enough. Whether he loves me or not, what does it matter? But in the end, he threw himself into my arms, pressing tightly against me, telling me, "Bai Ning Bing, I really, really, really like you." At that moment, I just felt flowers blooming everywhere. I tried hard to hold back the stinging in my eyes, responding word by